Millionaire Andrew Carnegie ushered in America's Gilded Age via the industrial empire he forged. But he also patronized the arts, building over 3,000 public libraries at his own expense. Why? An introduction to the concept of Noblesse Oblige. Andrew Carnegie was a leading industrialist at the turn of the 20th century. His steel business made him one of the wealthiest men in American history. But his wealth wasn't just for his private use. He believed he had a responsibility to care for the common man, too. Carnegie claimed that providing education and beauty to the masses was the noblest possible use of wealth. He built thousands of libraries, funded music venues like Carnegie Hall, founded the Carnegie Institution for Science, and built many museums. Though he might not have called it by name, Carnegie followed the principle of noblesse oblige, the idea that the wealthy or powerful in a society have an obligation to lift up the poor and weak. It can be summed up simply: privilege entails responsibility. More precisely, it can be described by two principles. Number one, whoever claims to be noble must conduct himself nobly. And number two, one must act in a fashion that conforms to one's position and privileges with which one has been born, bestowed, or has earned. Noblesse oblige is a French term literally meaning nobility obliges, but its origins go way back to at least ancient Greece. Homer's Iliad hints at the concept when, in Book 12, the hero Sarpedon urges his comrade Glaucus to fight with him in the front ranks of battle. Homer writes, "'Tis ours the dignity they give to grace, the first in valor as the first in place, that when with wondering eyes our confidential bands behold our deeds transcending our commands, such they may cry deserve the sovereign state, whom those that envy dare not imitate." Homer is pointing out how those first in place, the privileged class or the elite warriors, have an obligation to lead their soldiers from the front, to be first in valor. It's a call to earn the position that they occupy, so that they are deemed deserving of their privilege. Aside from mythology, the ancient Greeks had a version of noblesse oblige called euergetism, roughly translated as do good deeds, a social expectation that wealthy individuals should distribute part of their wealth to the community. This often took the form of funding public institutions, which often derived their legitimacy from the backing of wealthy individuals. This is evidenced in 355 BC, when the Athenian statesman Demosthenes mentioned how the rich had failed in their duty to contribute to the community. A more formal instantiation of euergetism was the position of choregos, a wealthy Athenian citizen who took on the public duty of financing the chorus and other aspects of the production of plays that were not funded by the polis, or city-state. Though philanthropic on its surface, many speculate that euergetism did not come from the genuine love for the people, but rather was a way of placating the masses, ensuring poor citizens didn't revolt. Aristotle supports this theory in his work Politics. The rich will make magnificent sacrifices, and build some monuments, and the people, then taking part in the banquets and feasts, and seeing the city splendidly decorated temples and buildings, wish to maintain the constitution. Ancient Rome adopted a more formal practice in the patron-client system, where high-status Romans offered favors for clients in return for political support. Though initially transactional in nature, this generosity towards clients eventually expanded into a more general charity toward the poor. Wealthy Romans often supported public entertainment like games, or built amenities like theaters, libraries, or baths. It's not uncommon to find the inscription DSPF, De Sua Pecunia Fecit, done with his own money, on a building indicating a wealthy Roman had funded it. Despite having roots in antiquity, the medieval and modern conceptions of noblesse oblige stemmed mostly from biblical teaching. In the Gospel of Luke, Jesus says, "Everyone to whom much has been given, of him much will be required, and from him to whom they trusted much, they will demand the more." A clear expectation is made from privileged members of society toward the poor. And like other commandments of Christ, these words were not taken lightly, especially by the earliest Christians. A popular Christian legend that set the template for noblesse oblige was that of Martin of Tours. First recorded in the life of Saint Martin by a 4th century chronicler, the tale describes Martin as a Roman soldier who encountered a half-naked beggar at the gate of the city of Amiens in northern France. Feeling pity upon the poor man, Martin cut his cloak in half in order to share it with the beggar. Later that night, the same beggar appeared to him in a dream vision and revealed himself to be Christ. Martin's willingness to share his possessions with a man less fortunate than himself was ultimately his salvation. As Christianity became prominent among wealthy Roman citizens and later medieval nobility, Jesus' words that it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God struck a particular chord with the upper classes. Elizabeth of Hungary was an especially notable saint who spread her wealth so aggressively that surely she earned a ticket through the narrow gate. Born to Thuringian nobility in the 13th century, she became famous for her dedication to the poor, handing out bread to the hungry, and funding the construction of a hospital where she personally cared for the sick and dying. So it wasn't wealth per se that was bad, it was how one used their wealth that mattered. One could even say that the medieval structure of government, feudalism, relied upon the Christian conception of noblesse oblige to work properly. In feudalism, a lord had an obligation to protect his vassals. In turn, the vassals pledged loyalty to the lord. Nobles understood their duties to their vassals in a similar way that Christ had for his flock. The interplay between lord, vassal, and peasant was a hierarchical relationship that depended on the provision and protection of lords toward the lower rungs of society. Otherwise, a tyrannical version of the system emerged that quickly fell apart. The medieval concept of the ideal knight was heavily intertwined with noblesse oblige too. Besides courage and honor, a courtesy toward lesser men and especially women was expected, as well as a readiness to defend the weak and help the poor. Noblesse oblige was therefore an important concept in European aristocracy throughout the medieval and modern eras, though it garnered some criticism too. Opponents of aristocracy argued that, although it imposed on the nobility a duty to behave nobly, it was also used as a tool by the aristocracy to justify their privilege in the first place. Into the late modern and post-Enlightenment periods, as aristocracy disappeared and rigid hierarchies flattened, noblesse oblige became less formalized. It became more good manners than societal obligation. For example, in honor de Balzac's 1835 work, The Lily of the Valley, where he recommends good behavior for young men, he concludes, "Everything I have just told you can be summarized by an old word, noblesse oblige." The expectation of the well-off to behave as a gentleman or a lady was a version of the concept which continued into the Gilded Age and helped foster millionaire philanthropists like Andrew Carnegie. But as the overall Christian framework of the West declined, the social expectations of noblesse oblige declined with it. Today, some might argue, noblesse oblige is a dead concept. Philanthropic efforts abound, but the lack of a unified moral framework eliminates the social pressures that used to incentivize the rich to help the poor. But not only the ultra-rich can partake in noblesse oblige. At its root, it's a call to behave like Martin of Tours or Elizabeth of Hungary. It doesn't necessarily require one to throw huge sums of money at causes hoping they'll go away, but to lower oneself down to the poor and hungry and be present with them, for one to take off their own cloak and drape it around the person nearby. Can we resurrect noblesse oblige? Thanks for watching this video. If you like more, please like and subscribe, and consider joining our Substack or our Patreon community to join the mission of highlighting the truth and beauty of Western civilization. Links below. Catch you next time.